Good afternoon, guys. MWUSA Season 4, Episode 17. It is Sunday afternoon, and actually I'm supposed to stop by the bank, but I don't have time for that right now. We are going to head out for the day. It is after 2 p.m. on Sunday. I will need to get some fuel after my first stop, and then we should be good for the rest of our trip. Today it is 32 degrees outside. It's the first time we've been above freezing in about 10 days. So that's very welcome. The snow is melting away. The roads are dry. Everything is good. So that's all good. I am at a point now where a lot of the things that I'm doing on the side are kind of maxed out and I can't do any more. So I need to look for a way to multiply those things. So I've got a few ideas of what I can do, but when you're doing investments where you're investing $10,000 to make $250 and it takes a week, you eventually get limited because how much do you really want to invest? Do you really want to invest $100,000 at one time? And there's always a risk, but although the risk is small, how much of your bankroll do you really want to invest? I also found a way on one of these things that I'm doing to actually cut the turnaround time by about 2 or 3 days. So instead of being able to do it once every 2 weeks to make it $250, I'll be able to do it probably every 9 or 8 days, hopefully. We'll test it out here really soon. So that's good. Some of the online stuff I've been doing made a few $100 the last couple of days, more than that. Yesterday was like 4 and today about 1, so about 500 the last couple days on that stuff. And now it's time for us to hit the casinos. So first stop is going to be a slots only casino. We're going to go in there and pound them real good, hopefully make $200 or $300, and we'll move on from there. But I am feeling a little bit more refreshed. I don't know if I was under the weather or what the deal was, or just beat from all the hours I was putting in, but I finally feel like I'm almost back to 100%. I'd say I'm probably at 90% right now as far as energy, clarity, excitement, everything else, and I am going to use that power and use that energy to make some money. So we're heading out for the day. We've got a lot of stuff to go over later on, but we'll do things one step at a time, and I'll talk a little bit more about my upcoming trip when I come back. So for now, I'm going to let you go, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, I am back. Probably spent about an hour at this casino, and not because I had a lot of plays, but because I was waiting for some plays to come out, and I waited and waited for people to get up, and finally the last person that I was waiting for hit what I would have been chasing and kept on going on the machine. So a lot of these things are hidden. Lots of times you're chasing a certain thing and it's very discreet when it comes and it's gone, and the person just keeps on playing because they don't know anything about it. But it shows how unfair it is. Anyway, let's see, start from the beginning here, if I can remember that far back. I go to the first machine at the lower bet amount, like $4 a spin, and I'm down like 120. Then I had the higher denomination on the same machine, hit that, and ended up getting all that back, and I was ahead. I think, if I remember right, $36 stands out. So I was back up 36, and then I go to the far reaches of the casino that a lot of people don't know are even there, because you have to go out and then go back in a different area completely. So and it's interesting when I say stuff like that, I get emails from all over the country. Are you here? Are you here? I think you're at my casino. But anyway, I find a play there, and it's at $8 a spin. And I play that one through, and I had that 236, lost that in a second, and put in 600 more, and finally hit, and that got me up to like $1,055 if I remember right. So I was up like 250. Moved to the machine next to it. It had a couple plays on it, which is interesting because I found like 4 or 5 plays on these 2 machines, and there's people everywhere in here checking stuff, and none of them had played them. And then when I finally finished the first machine, moved to the second machine, and was playing the final plays, then a guy comes out and starts looking at it. I don't know how they all could have been there, but I ended up losing like 400 on that one, so now I'm down like 170. Keep on going, look at a couple plays, 40 here, 30 there, 20 there, and next thing you know, I'm back up to 740 out of the 800 I started with. And I looked at this one, and it was borderline. I started to play it, and it had a small line hit right away. It took me to like 770. And I thought, I feel like I should get up because this thing is borderline, and I just had this line hit. I just don't feel comfortable staying here. But I had already made the decision that I was going to play it, so I played it through. And by the time I got up from that machine, I was down to like 430, something like that as my voucher. So now I'm down again. And I'm trying to think where I went, where I had my hit. I don't know how, I can't remember. Oh yeah. So then I was in the high limit area, and it was kind of unusual because it seemed like all the good machines that we normally would play were all turned off, either completely off or they were locked. So I don't know if there's some kind of reason for that, or if it's just a coincidence, but I kind of feel like it's a coincidence. But it's really weird that just the ones that I would look at. But there was one, and I did play that one that was at $5 a spin, and that got me down to like a few $100s, and I finally hit that, had a nice big hit on that one, and that took me to being ahead 215, and played one final machine, took me to plus 217. So after all that, being up 250, being down 600, being back up, back down, back up, I ended my session ahead $217. Now, one of these guys that has ridden with me before, and I've kind of recorded and let you listen to some of his things that he's talked about, he was there, and I said, "You ready?" And he's like, "Nah, man, I can't." I'm like, "Why not?" He's like, "I just had a baby a week and a day ago." I'm like, "Okay, you mean 8 days ago?" So I said, "Who's the father?" Just joking around, and he laughed for a minute. And I saw this couple there also, and they claim they got this machine at a certain number, and I don't believe them because I was sitting right there and it wasn't there. But she was tired of pushing the button, so she had her husband finish it up, and I was leaving just as they still had probably a couple hundred spins before they hit that. Interestingly, the one machine that I said I lost 300 and something on after being about $30 away from even, that one I spun over 400 times, and that was a little bit unusual. I wasn't the best play in the first place. And then there was a play over by the cashier, and that one was at $3 a spin, and I waited and waited and waited, and she kept pumping 20s and 20s and 20s and 20s in this machine, and finally she was in at about $400. I decided to take one more lap around the casino, came back around, she was still there, and I looked, and the play was gone, and she was still playing. So that's the one I was talking about initially. So right now it is the warmest it's been in a very long time. It's 36 degrees. Roads are dry. Most of the snow is, well, some places there's no snow, some places there's still a few inches. But right now I'm going to continue on to the next casino cautiously. I don't know. I feel like I need to talk to somebody about my plans here and figure out a good way to do things, but I don't have an expert that I can talk to. So I'm gonna spend some time quietly going to the next casino. It's about 100 miles from this location, and we'll stop, we'll get some fuel, we'll think things over and make some decisions, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. That was a long one there. So we did do a live broadcast. It lasted quite a while because I had a long drive before I got here, and a lot of good things on that call. Sorry, just backing out here. These old cars don't have rear cameras, so I haven't had a rear camera on my car in a couple years now. Anyway, we got here and walked around the casino and just found a couple small plays here and there. Nothing that great, no big deal. And played probably 5 or 6 small plays and ended my session ahead $39. So nothing great, no big deal. And I was in here for about an hour or so, maybe slightly over an hour. And then I went to get something to eat. I had $15 in free food and just stood in line forever. And finally, I ordered my food, and it was $12.30. Well, I had $15, and their chips were $3. So I'm like, okay, let me get some potato chips. I said, okay. And with your discount, which I don't think they took the discount, but anyway, it doesn't matter. They said you owe 30 cents. I'm like, okay. And they're like, do you want us to take it from your comps? I'm like, yeah. It just took them forever. I was probably in line for 20 minutes, at least 15 minutes. And then just ringing me out took 3 or 4 minutes. I was like exhausted. So I put my stuff down at the table and took another lap at the casino, came back, it wasn't ready, took another lap, came back, and finally I got my food, ate my food, and just left the casino. So a lot of my old buddies that I always talk about on the podcast in there, doing their thing. Everything is fine though. And yeah, so one thing that came up, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, but in the live broadcast, one of our listeners mentioned that he had some bad results on a screening that he had, I believe for lung cancer. And so we want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and hopefully he'll have a quick recovery and report back to us that he's doing much better. So all that. And let me see, I did end up bringing a lot of those chips with me because I didn't realize it came with fries already, and then I added potato chips, and it was like the homemade kind, not in a bag. So now I had all these plates in front of me, so I took them with me. Right now we're heading on to the next casino, and we're going to play some blackjack there. I'm a little concerned because I don't have my full bankroll with me, but I should be okay. We're going to go in there and hopefully play for an hour or so, have some decent results, and I'll come back and report back to you again. All right, guys, I'm back. Oh, man. All right. As soon as I walked into this casino, I see 2 advantage players checking these machines. First machines in the whole casino. I see them there. I said, man, we got to stop running into each other like this. I take it you've already run through everything. And they're like, well, we don't really come here very often. I'm like, every time I come here, you're here. So it's all right. I looked at a few machines. Of course, didn't find anything. And went and played a little bit of blackjack. When I got to a table, it was just me and a young lady, probably like early 30s. Kind of an odd person to be, like, she didn't fit the profile at all. The way that she played, the way she picked up the chips was like she's never played before. And she was pretty nervous. She was tipping $1 every hand, asking for advice a lot, but overall she didn't make any weird moves or anything like that, so it was cool. Played with her for a while, bought in for $500, knowing that, look, if things don't go well here, my trip's going to be over. If I lose $10K on a stop, that's it, it's over. I would have to turn around and go home. So bought in for $500. I won the first hand and lost all the other hands, and that $500 was gone. Rebought for another $500. Now the count starts going up. It actually started going up early on, like after, it was like a running 6 after the first hand. So I'm raising and I'm raising and I'm raising, and we get to like a true 3, maybe 3.5, and then it levels off there for a long time, really till close to the end of the shoe. It was right around the same level, and so I'd rebought for a second 500. At my lowest point, I think I was down like 650 or 700, somewhere in there, and then started chipping away and coming back slowly. And then finally I ended up leaving, because it was a neutral count, but now we had 4 people on the table, and that was just going to be too much for me. So I ended up walking away from it. I had $233, so it's okay. I'm good with that, and we'll live to fight another day. Next time I'll make sure I bring enough money so I'm not worried about, being short. So now we still may play another session of blackjack at a different casino depending on which way we go, but it's all going to depend on the next stop and how long we're there. So we'll find out about that. Is this a turn lane? I guess not. So right now I'm heading to another casino on a road that I'm not very familiar with. So I got to keep my eye on the map and head over there, and we'll see what we can find. I'm afraid that these 2 guys that I just saw leave a little bit ago are heading over there. It's actually likely that they're heading over there. So by the time I get there, it may be too late. But they were probably a minute ahead of me leaving. So depending on the traffic they run into, the traffic I run into, we'll probably get there close to the same time. And hopefully we have some positive variance there. So that's what's going on right now as I'm navigating through these weird roads here that I don't think I've ever driven on. And I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. So, pretty uneventful. Found a couple tiny plays and played those through. One was actually, was it a couple or just one? One play, 50 cents a spin on a newer machine, and actually paid pretty well. Ended ahead $29. That's pretty much it. I looked at everything else. It was pretty quiet in there. Not too many cars outside. On the way out, there was a crowd around a guy who was playing a, what do they call those things? Dragon Link or something like that, where you get 6 balls with the money numbers on them and you get free spins, and he had hit for 1,700 and everybody was crowded around that. So anyway, that's pretty much it for that. At this point, just trying to figure out the best path. And I think I'm going to go ahead and continue on to the next casino. It's about another hour or so from here. So I'm going to sit back and relax and take care of some personal stuff in the car, listening to some stuff, catching up on things, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright, I am back. It's after midnight, leaving this place, and not really the most exciting. I did have a couple exciting points in there. Walk in, looking, nothing, nowhere. Can't find a thing. I'm getting ready to leave. I see a new machine. I kind of understand it, but I'm not positive, so I decide to give it a spin. Run about $40 through there. I end up down like $14 on it. Kind of get it, and I feel it's probably not going to be anything worthwhile, so I leave it alone. I move on. I see a machine that is borderline negative in my opinion, but someone recently told me that in their opinion it's borderline positive with those numbers. So I decide to play it, and you know what, I'm blanked out here. I'm trying to remember how they'll play. I think I ended the session down like $25 on that one. So now I'm down approximately $40. I go find another machine to play, and that one goes miserably. I lose 100 on that one, so now I'm down like 140. Move on, find another one, and played that one through. I believe that was the last machine I played, and I ended up ahead. Man, you know, it's so funny. I just put it in my notepad. I already forgot. I ended the session ahead $76. So that's good. Plus a little bit of money there, $76. And we're gonna move on to another casino. I'm just excited because the weather is good. It's dry. There's no snow. It's below freezing again now, but it's not a big deal because there's no hazards anywhere. So I'm driving a car that works well. It has no engine lights on or anything like that. Comfortable. It's not shaking. There's nothing weird about it. So I'm happy about that. So we're going to relax and enjoy the ride to the next casino, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. So I go into this place expecting just the usual, and there's one machine I like to check. It's actually two machines I like to check here because they're not really looked at very often. I walk in, look at a couple things, play a couple small plays. I'm up like $10, and then I go find the machine that I've been waiting for, the one that I know is going to give me a nice payout. I look at it and it was like glowing. It was beautiful. It was in such good position. I was so excited about it. I walk up, I look at it. Oh, it's so nice. It's $3 to spin. I put $300 in there. I'm ready to go. I'm excited, and I run out of money. I put in 200 more, and I'm so happy, and I'm excited about it, and I'm ready to win. And I run out of money, and I put in a few hundred more. I run out of money. I'm like, what is going on? This is not normal for this game. And things just dragged on, and a play that was supposed to take 5 minutes took about 30 minutes. I don't know where I lost this thing, but it took about 30 minutes instead of about 5, and I ended up involved for $900 in that game, and ended up leaving the game down a little bit more than $300. So that wasn't very much fun. And then I went to another area and probably overplayed a game, and that put me down almost 850 actually. So now I'm really struggling, and I'm looking, and there's not much left. And I find another play on a newer game that I understand. I've got the entry points correct, and I'm nervous about it because it's $20 a spin, and it's still relatively new to me, but I know the entry point. I get in, I put in, what should I put in, $400 to start, and boom, boom, boom. In no time, I've got 980, and then I continue to play. I'm down to 300, I'm down to 200, and then I hit, and I leave at 960 or something. I'm like, darn it, you know. So I made a lot of the money back on that play. And then I go into the high limit area. There's only one beatable machine in that high limit area, and the minimum bet is $4 a spin, and the maximum bet, I believe, is $200 a spin. So you got to be really careful, because some of these machines you have to push buttons to check, and if you accidentally push the wrong button, you might have spent $200 for no reason. So I found a play that I wanted, and I started playing it. And I had a nice little hit, and then started falling back, a nice little hit, started falling back, and then I finally finished up that game. By the time I finished that one up, I was down like only 157, and found another one and played that one through, and ended the session down 156, which was a small miracle, really, the way that things were going. and it's the middle of the night, and everyone's already been there. And as I was playing one of the games, another AP walked by me, and he's checking stuff that I haven't checked yet. So it was actually pretty good. I only ended up losing that little bit of money on there, 156. So I'm a little hungry right now. I'm a little thirsty right now. Well, I guess that reminds me, let's do our segments. What did you eat today, MW? Today I ate the usual. I ate the usual. Let me think here. Let me go back to the beginning. This morning, what did I have this morning before I left the house? Before I went to church, I actually had a ham sandwich. And the way I like to make it is 2 pieces of bread, obviously. The more white bread, the better. I don't really like too much like oats and things in the bread. I'll eat it, but it's not like my favorite thing. So white bread, even wheat is okay. Mayo on both pieces of bread, and I put pepper on both pieces of bread on top of the mayo. Nice thick coat of pepper, and then 4 slices of ham folded over. Nice little air pockets in there, get the flavor going. And as simple as that is, as long as everything is the way it should be, that is like a jack on a scale of 2 through ace. It really is. It sounds silly, but it's really good. So I had that, and then we went to church. After church, and that's a whole other story I'm not going to tell, but something happened. So we split up after church. I went and picked up some sandwiches, and my wife took the kids home, the other kids home. I took 2 kids with me, and the rest went home. And we went to Jersey Mike's, and you remember 3, 4, 5 months ago when I was buying gift cards like crazy. I've got a bunch of gift cards I haven't used yet, so we got 3 giant subs from Jersey Mike's, 2 number 13s, which is the Italian, and 1 number 8 or 7, I forget which, the one that has the bacon on it. It's a bacon turkey. We got 2 of them whole wheat and 1 of them white bread, done Mike's way. Oh, that's so good, with the vinegar and oil and salt and pepper on there. Oh, it's so delicious. So I would give that like a 10 on a scale of 2 through ace. And then tonight, after I did the live session, I was in a casino, and I had that $15 in free food that I mentioned, and I got these chicken tenders, which are nice. They're lightly breaded. They came with fries, which I really didn't want, but the sauce, the dipping sauce for the chicken tenders was so good. It was this bourbon barbecue sauce. Oh, it's delicious. Even the nasty fries tasted good in there. And then I did have some of these homemade potato chips, which they're okay. I'm not real big on oily stuff, so I give that meal probably an 8 on a scale of 2 through ace. Part of that being that the service was so awful. It took so long to order, and then it took so long before I ordered in line, and it took so long for them to make these 3 chicken strips for $12.30. So whatever. And what did you tip today, MW? I actually did tip today. While I was playing blackjack, I was getting a lot of heat because I didn't have a card. And this dealer says that she remembers me from like 10 years ago, before this casino changed names like 3 times. And I told her I was not here at that point. I was only here with the current name. I was never here before that. And she swears that she knows me, and was telling the pit boss, and the pit boss is staring me down and stuff. So I did place a $2.50 bet for the dealer, and the bet did win, and that seemed to help a little bit. I didn't really have the pit boss hanging around too much. I also played one side bet that is only positive with a huge positive count, and I was approaching that positive count, and the dealer, the situation was just in a place where it made sense to play it, and I put $50 on it, and that paid 1-to-1. If that tells you anything about what that side bet was. So, you know, it's you really need a huge positive count for it to make sense, and I was getting close to that, but it's still negative EV. But I put 25 on that and paid, you know, so I got 50 back. So anyway, that's what happened today. Right now it's getting early in the morning, so we're going to continue on our trip toward home, and temperature right now is 27 degrees. We're going to go home, get a little bit of rest, work hard in the morning, then I'll be back tomorrow with my Monday episode, which I will release tomorrow night. So hope you guys are all doing good. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.